Hi everyone, I wanted to do a quick video for assignment A2b. It's going to be pretty much the exact same as the last assignment, with a pretty big exception. The whole point of doing the same kind of thing with a different format is to allow you to compare and contrast between character strings and the string class, string objects. And so here's what I would end up doing. So here is the code for the starter code that I gave you, and notice we have all of the code we were doing before, including some predefined constants. Okay. Last time when we looked at this, I gave you a little block of, hey, let's test out this code. You can just duplicate this block again and see how it works in other cases, for other situations, for using the string class, and we'll look at that in a second. The point being that you should have almost the exact same kind of code. It does not have, you can change all of these functions if you want. You can get rid of this, you can get rid of this, and this function. You can get rid of all the old functions, the new versions of the CPP file functions if you wanted to, but why? We figured out the solution for how to do this with C. We're not going to do the exact same thing because the mechanisms are slightly different, but a lot of the stuff is going to be the same. So for the most part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what I had in the C code, bring it down to the C++ code, and then make some tweaks. So when I need to get a particular element or a particular character, I'm going to use that function. If I want to get the length, instead of calling strlen, I will call length on this string. There's almost a one-to-one equivalence per function for C classes as it is for, or the C class as it is for the C strings. So let's have a quick look. I'm just jumped down to the bottom of the file here, and I have removed comments from a given line. That's going to look exactly like the other version of the code. So I just copy it and bring it down. Let's have a look at the shift text CPP. That's the weird one, or at least not that weird, but just wanted to go over it. Because what did we do last time? The last time we had to manually move characters over, and if you're doing that with a string, it's not quite as good. You could do it. You can actually manually move characters around in a string object all you want. You use the at function. So I could do something like, so here we go. I have a pointer to a C string according to this thing. So p text line, and I can use the at function. And I add a particular character, so at position 4, that's going to make that equal to p text line at position 17, right? And that would move the character from at position 17 over to the character at position 4, just like we did last time when we used the array, right? We used the square parentheses to move characters around. So you could do that if you wanted to. You don't have to. So although you have options like this, what if we did something like this? So I'm going to comment this out. This is not the file you're going to be seeing, but I just want to leave it up there. What if I wanted to get, so world, how are you? And I'm going to put a dash and a dash here. Okay, here's what I want to do. Let's say I want to get hello world, leave off the dash, and after the dash, everything else. What could I do? Well, I'd find out where this dash is. I'd find out where this dash is. And then what I could do is just concatenate this onto this. It's another approach I could take. So what I could do is I could say, so this is where substring comes in handy. So let's say, so I'm looking for this particular, let's actually do that exercise. Sure. String test, and that is going to have this as the test. All right. So that's going to be my test string. I'm going to look for position of start. And that's going to be equal to, well, I need to find this, test dot find. I'm going to find a dash in there. Do I want to offset it by a certain amount? No, there's no real offset. I'm just looking for the very first dash. Okay. On the other hand, test dot find dash starting at position dash start. Now I'm on to something here. Oh, dash start plus 1. So starting at this position here, find the next dash. Otherwise, starting at this position here, find the first dash. That's all this thing is doing. I might want to have something like if dash start, and I want to find out what find returns. If it returns a size t, so that could be something longer than my length of my string. It can't be lower than 0. A size t is always a positive integer. It's a new variable. It's unsized integer. It exactly maps to an unsized integer. So if dash start is greater than or equal to test dot length, then I know I don't have anything here, so I'm just going to return. I'm not doing anything. Let's say this is just me playing around with stuff. So I can find the start of a comment. I can find the end of a comment. Let's say I find the start of the dash. I find the end of the dash. In this case, I know those dashes are there. Okay, how could I do this? Well, let me think here. What if I got the first chunk of text, and then I get the last chunk of text after that substring, after that dash? So I could say something like string start text is equal to, and then I need to get my substring. So text line, and I don't know the names of half these files. I'm looking for things like, oh, I'm looking for a substring, for example. I can see if I can assign something. I can see if I can erase some part or all of my text. I want to find the length of the string. Look around, see if there's a function for finding the length. There is. It's called length. A substring is a chunk of your string, a part of your string. Let's see what it actually requires. It's requiring some offset. Okay, we're going to have 0 at the beginning. And how many characters over I'm going to go. Okay, so I'm going to put both those in there. I'm going to have my offset and then dash start. And what's this going to, we're going to find out what this actually is going to do. End text is equal to p text line substring. Oh, the way I also want to double check that it's going to return a string. Okay. Dash end plus 1, right? It's just past where the dash was, the location of the dash. And I want to include the rest of my string, so I could do, well, I could just leave it alone actually, and it'll work. It'll just go to the end of the string. But if I want to make sure I, give some value, text line length, that'll do, right? Go no further than the length of my string. Okay, that seems to make sense. So from the dash end to the end of the string, that's what I'm going to return. And I want to just, let's plop down a breakpoint in here, and let's see what happens. And I'm going to call this thing, yeah, let's see here. I want to test, didn't I? Not a text length. Okay, I'm going to call this and set this up. I don't want to find. It's going to be this. I was mixing these things up here, so let's do this. This is just me playing with some code. I haven't even started coding things yet. I want to see that this is all going to work out approximately right for me. So I'm going to have a starting position. I'm going to have a destination position. I'm going to shift a certain number. I'm not even going to be doing that shifting characters thing. I'm just going to have this thing go through here and see what happens. I just want to test what's going to happen. So I just I can throw this into some random function, see what happens. Actually, let's leave this alone for right now. So I have a hard-coded value. It's going to be using this thing here. It's going to be using test how are you. I'm going to call shift text with that chunk of text. I'm just going to put like 0 and 17 or something like that, some values in here. I'm just testing my code. But since I don't know necessarily, I'm new to strings, I want to see what I could do. So let's do this. And then what do I want? I want this. I'll copy that over. And then I want to shift text CPP. And then I want to have test 0 and let's say 10. I want to just see how this works. Oh, and I need it to be a pointer to that string. Okay, let's compile it. Let's see what happens. Whoop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh, do I have a problem? Yes, I do. Test is undefined. Oh, it's not test now anymore. It should be this thing here. Right? If I have a pointer, I use the arrow. If I don't have a pointer, I use the dot. If I happen to use the dot, it'll automatically convert it over to the pointer. That's fine. Okay. Just weird behavior. Unassigned mismatch. Okay, I want to fix that thing. Okay, dash start. I'm looking for this. The find is going to give me a size, so I probably should make this size underscore t. Stupid Google. Okay, size underscore t. It's always a positive value, so why fight it? Okay, so here's what I'm expecting. This is just, again, I'm just playing. I want to see what this thing is actually going to do. So I put it down a breakpoint. I test it out some of my functions. I want to see how this is actually going to find the first and the end. And then afterwards, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double check to make sure I get the right text. And then I'm going to see what happens. So let's roll it. Hopefully it's going to work. Okay, do I have a breakpoint? I have a breakpoint. There we go, we're in the breakpoint. What's end text? Oh, I need to move one step further. End text is how are you? Okay. Is that including the space? It is including the space, which I hoped, right? It should be everything from the dash onwards. I want to double check. All right, how about the start? Hello, including the space. Great. So I got rid of everything. The dash is included between those two. Okay, and let's stop it. Notice I could have just left this off because I don't actually need to do this find thing yet. I'll do that later. This is the end dash. This is where it's supposed to go. I could use, instead of using start dash end and start, dash start and dash end, it's actually destination pause and start pause. I am doing, this is going to be for some other step. I'm just shifting things over. I know the index of where I need to move things around. So let's just comment that out. I'll get rid of all of that. I don't want to get rid of things yet because I'm not going to give the answers necessarily. But it's going to give me this, start text, end text, and then I can do this. P text line. And I could do, let me see here. Brute force ignorance would be clear. Clear it, and then P text line dot append. I'm going to append, and I should be able to notice what this weird thing is here. It says 3 of 7, because if I go around, I can go, oh look, you can add other strings. You can see what all the different ways. This is called an overloaded function, as in you can call append with a whole bunch of different kinds of input and it all works the way you expect. We will get to that when we do inheritance and polymorphism. It's actually polymorphism. So I'm going to append, and I'm going to have start text. I'm going to append that start text. I'm going to append end text. And then at the end, how many characters did I remove? Well, actually, I want to know, I can return dash end minus dash start. That would be the how many characters I removed, if that's what I want to do. That's the kind of, I'm just playing. I want to play with stuff and see what happens. And then I would also want to check out what this is going to do. So let's move one more step up here. And where am I? Here's my main. I have this, and I want to say cout my test is now test. Hopefully it's going to work. All right. So I want to also use cout statements instead of printf statements, again, for practice. But it's point by point how this is going to work. Okay. I'm going to just let this roll and see what happens. Continue. All right. My test is now, hello, how are you? Hey, it worked. By concatenating things or appending things together, I take two strings, squished them together, and I originally cleared it just to make sure I had a blank canvas to work on. I could have also appended to the other end. I could have set it, the original one, to be equal to whatever that string was, the first part of the string, and then appended the rest on. I could have done all sorts of things. The point being, you can play around with this stuff. You can also have set the at symbol to 0 for one of the characters, which would remove the rest of the line, like we did before. So your job is to just take what we did in the previous assignment and make little modifications, play around with what are our options, like string length, like append, like substring, like clear, like you could just do a plus sign, by the way, for appending things together. I could, let me see here, remove line for the CPP. I could just set, I could take something like, here we go. For removing the line at CPP, I have a position where I need to find it, right? So I can say p text line dot find, not a dot, it's an arrow. And it's txt, that's why it's not giving me autocomplete. Find, and then I want to find something in particular. I want to find this thing. Well, I already had that labeled somewhere. So it's called comment line start. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. It's going to be offset to 0. I can leave it blank. That's going to find the first instance of that double slash. Int double slash idx, the index of the double slash, and then I could do something like p text line, and then what do I want to do? At double slash index, come on, autocomplete for me here, is equal to it's the other way, right? Alright, save it, see what happens, and then let's test out this move. It's not perfect, it's not actually right, but let's test it out. Again, I'm just going to jump up, I can put it in a new function if I wanted to, just to see how this works. So I'm going to do this, and maybe I'll have lazy test 2, and it will be hello world. All right, and this will be test 2. I need a pointer to test 2, And then I'm going to need some, am I in a block comment? Well, I'm not going to be in a block comment to start, so it's going to be false for right now. I'm not in a block comment to start. And then maybe I want to do a cout statement for my test2. Test2 is now test2. All right. I play. I see how it works. Get some working thing to make sure it works as I expect. Then I build out my solution. I could also just plan out my attack and then fix up the individual parts. But I want to test as I go. So having a little test for each one of my functions is going to be very, very, very helpful. So have a look. Let me have a look at this thing here. Did it actually say hello? Oh, what happened? Didn't work exactly as expected. So my test is now hello/world. And let me see why that would be the case. It's finding that double slash. It's setting the value to 0 for one of those double slashes. It's not actually clearing it at that point. Okay. Setting the wouldn't actually clear it. So I will actually need to clear off the bottom of this thing. Good to know. So now I want to go back to remove comment. Actually, I honestly thought the would have actually done it for me. Live and learn. Great. Fine. So I found this. I might want to also put a little breakpoint in here. And then maybe what we can do is figure out what text line. And then I could erase. Let's see what erase is going to give me. I'm going to get an iterator. I have a standard string iterator at a particular point. I also have a bunch of these, so let's see what other options I have. Offset and a constant, and it returns a string. All right, let's erase from not a particular offset. So I don't want to offset. I should get at this thing here. Let's find out what it does. And I'm going to get rid of this thing. And let's go from there. But again, I'm going to look at the main code, what I had before, just to make sure it all makes sense. And I'm going to also do a breakpoint here to see what happens. So I should stop there. I'm going to go one step further. Double slash index is equal to position 6. Great. I'm going to now erase the ptext line is now equal to //world. Okay. Well, I erased the front of it, not the back of it. I erased from 0 to that. What I want is from that to the end. Okay. Let's stop this. Or you can just look on Stack Overflow for half these things. This is not something you memorize. This is something you just play with. Okay. And finally, I'm going to do ptext line and length. All right. Run it. 2 steps, and ptext line is equal to now hello. Great. I've erased everything below that point. You're not going to memorize everything. It's a matter of playing with it until you figure out what will work for you. Because I could tell you all sorts of different tactics, but you have to make it your own. Okay, I'm hoping that's useful. We'll go over some of it again tomorrow during the live synchronous lecture. In the meantime, I got to go pick up some kids and make some supper. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Thanks.